All right, so shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I'll start off by saying Barakatham, Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah. I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Bakakadash. Double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Shout out to the hopeful elect, starting with the 144,000, shalom. All right, so Lord willing, right, let's only go into today as I'm watching the older breakdown of the elders of Ezekiel chapter 17. Right? Lord willing, we're going to later as we finish the breakdown, but I want to go into this, verse 6. I want to go into verse 6, right? And real fast, right? Ezekiel 17. I started verse 5. He said he also took of the seeds of land and put it in a fruitful field. Because America was a fruitful field, but America still is a fruitful field. Right? He said that he placed it by great waters and set it as a willow tree. He said it grew and became a spreading vine of low stature, right? Whose branches, right? And when you go into that, let's see, that vine just meaning like our children or whatnot, the children, because even the elders breaking it down in the breakdown, but when you actually search it up, the Lord willing, you search it up yourself, when you go into this word, branches are the daughters, and boughs, Boughh, that's the sons, right? But it's the vine of low stature, which is us. We're those vines of low stature. It says whose branches toward him, the roots thereof were under him. So it became a vine and brought forth branches and shot forth sprigs, right? But understand that, I just want to go into the part really of and it became a spreading vine of low stature, And you understand that, and I'm gonna go Deuteronomy as well, but let's see, just so we don't really receive or have any notification interrupt that I'm gonna go to this and I'm gonna read verse 5 and 6 in the NLT before you go to Deuteronomy, But understanding that we're that vine of low stature, the Hebrew Israelites. And we've been put in low places because why? Our iniquity and our disrespect to Yahweh Shah. Right? So this is verse 5 and 6 in the NLT, Ezekiel 17. Verse 5 and 6, it says, he also took a seedling from the land and planted it in a fertile soil. He placed it beside a broad river where it could grow like a willow. It took root there and grew into a low spreading vine. Its branches turned up toward the eagle, right? The eagle is America, right? And even when you understand, 2 Ezra 11, what is that eagle referred to? The ancient Roman Empire, which America is the revised Roman Empire, right? But to continue reading on, it says, turned up toward the eagle, and his roots grew down into the ground. It proceeded strong branches and put out shoots. But we're that low spreading vine, man. We're that, we're the children of Israel, that we've been brought down, because of our iniquity towards Yahweh Shah, And the Spirit's on me to go on this, that I was trying to meditate in the Spirit for a lesson to go into, right? Let's see. Bear with me. Yeah. This book of Ecclesiastes, right? Verse 10 and 6. And it reads, and it says, folly is set in great dignity, and the rich sit in low places. Who do you think of those rich that sit in low places? That's us, right? We're that vine of low stature. We're sitting in low places, but ultimately we understand. All right, it's like, excuse me. And folly is just foolishness. I heard somebody out here talking, sitting in the corner of the lesson. On this line, they talking on the microphone. But anyways, it says folly set at great dignity, foolishness, wickedness, all that. That's at a great dignity. It's set at all time high right now. It says, in the rich sit in low places because we're brought underneath, right? We're brought down, and because the transgressions that we did against Yahweh Shah, and ultimately, when you truly understand it, right, us being here, Baruch chapter 4, it tells you, Yahweh Shah ain't sent us here for us to be destroyed. He sent us here for us to understand our ways, right, and return back into him. But Jake still don't get it. Jake caught up in the way of Esau, That's why the scriptures say what? Right, what's that, Proverbs, I think that's 12 and 21. right? Esau Edom is confusing those. Actually, 26, right? It says the righteous is more excellent than his neighbor, because the Most High take the most wicked is Jake before he take Esau Edom, man. You know, because at the end of the day, all Israel be brought to the kingdom through the elect seed. But a lot of them got to get punished first because they don't listen. They'd rather listen to Esau Edom, which priests are going to go into, right? It says, but the way of the wicked seduces them. They'd rather listen to the ways and the lifestyle and the religion of Esau Edom than return to their true nationality. You can't even tell Jake that hey man, you the chose people of the world called God, which his name is Yahweh. Right? You the chosen people. Jake don't want to hear that, because why? The way of the wicked seduces them. They got them so caught up in those ways. And as I was reading that precept, it made me think of Jeremiah. You know, and I'm also going to do Deuteronomy still. It made me think of Jeremiah, man. Because when you understand it, the reason we brought those, because why? Let's read this. Jeremiah 2 in verse 20 says, for old time have broken thy yoke and burst thy bands, and thou saidest, I will not transgress. Right? So we have the name of Yahweh, right? And we were going to captivity, we were going to bondage, and we'll call the name of Yahweh and it would deliver us. You know, and during that time, we'll be like, hey, we're not going to sin anymore. You know, when we get out of this captivity, we're gonna tighten up. You know, and we playing around being, basically on some lying shit, man. You know, some hypocritical shit. Yeah. When I get out of here, most I promise I ain't gonna sin anymore. We're gonna get right. It says, when upon every high hill and every green tree. Another point, and that's why the name was taken from us, man. For that one point, the name was taken from us, because they ain't no more playing around. We was in that captivity going through it hard, because Jake would play around and say, hey, how about y'all shot, calling the name of Yahweh, please deliver us. He deliver us, and we'll act like we're going to tighten up. Then guess what? Jake go back doing the same thing over and over, right? It says, when upon every high hill, under every green tree, thou wanders, playing the harlot. And this what had our nation brought down, because they'll go follow this nation, that nation, And right now, Jake's so dumbed down that, Esau done dumbed down these 2/3 to the point that Jake think he a YN. Jake think he's the stigma that they put out on the so-called blacks. Because, Judah is the head tribe, the whole headed seed. Judah's the head tribe, Judah's the head tribe, man. And so, and everybody slick, and in the world, in the world how it is, how, everybody try to mimic the so-called African-American lifestyle. Everybody want to have that nigga mindset. Everybody want to have that nigga swag. You know what I'm saying? Right? Lord willing, the brothers understand what I'm saying, right? And it's get to a point to where Esau done programmed into Jake's head that he's, a drug dealer rapping. So he done programmed Jake, and he done programmed this bullshit in Jake's head. Well, Jake can't return to this truth because it's not cool. It's not nothing of our culture, how they would put it. But in reality, our culture is righteous, a royal priesthood, man. Right? But Jake ran around here pants sagging, doing all this bullshit, right? It says playing the harlot. Because you gotta think, how about Yahweh gave us a lot of commandments? He told us these things are gonna separate you from the other nations. These things are gonna make you different from the other nations. Right? But we done disrespected the Most High name, right? Because they know what he told people to be how about Yahweh. We done disrespected his name, right? We're around here doing all this bullshit, all this folly, And that's why we've been brought down, because we had to learn, those vine of low stature, man. It grew a vine of low stature, right? It says right here, right? It says, yeah, I planted thee a noble vine, wholly a right seed. How then art thou turned into a degenerate plant of a strange vine unto me? So we turned ourselves into a degenerate plant, put ourselves in this low position because we wanted to choose the way of our own self than what Yahweh said for us to do. Remember, he gave us laws and commandments, Deuteronomy chapter 4. He gave us laws and commandments to separate us, right? Holy, that's what holy means. Holy means separate. Saints mean holy. What makes us holy? Having the laws and commandments. They separate us, right, from these other nations. Their iniquity, their abominations, the things that they got going on, the foolishness they got going on. We're supposed to be a righteous kingdom, a perfect kingdom, which we're going to be in the kingdom. We're supposed to be righteous people, perfect people. I meant to say, right? But in the kingdom, we're gonna be a perfect kingdom, the kingdom of Yahweh Shai. And that's why 2/3 is gonna be destroyed. And that's why Yahweh Shai brought us down to this point we announced to see who would, who would return back, man, for lack of better words, right? Who would tighten up? Who would, ultimately Yahweh Shai, it's all up to him anyway. But as you can see, man, Jake don't want to return back in the truth. Jake done built a lifestyle. Jake done built a way. And this, Jake, quote unquote, he loved the lifestyle he in, being in front of trenches, things. That's the only thing he professed. Which I ain't saying it's too much, there's nothing against it, but when you truly understand it, man, you will see how, we come from a righteous branch, man. We chose people to be Habashim Yahushua, which we're going to be rulers of the world in the time to come, right? But at the same time, right now, we're in that low stature. We in that low place because Jake's so dumbed out and confused, right? So this Deuteronomy 28 in verse 40, right? It says, if I start at verse 43, it says, the stranger that is within thee shall get above thee, very high. Talking about over in America, Esau, these other nations are all above us. This is everybody else having a good life here except for Israel, man, right? Especially Esau, they blessed with the facts of the earth. Over here in America, man, they're above us. Or you go to Job 31, it said, them who are younger than me, that younger goes into rank. The younger goes into rank, man. Them who are younger than me have me in division. We're over them, right? We're over them, but they have us in division. They putting us through a lot. Because why? We disrespect the Habashim Yahushua, so we've been brought low, right? We grew into a low stature vine, which we supposed to be in a holy right seed, which we read. But we grew into a low stature vine because why? Right? We went against Habashim Yahushua, which we're going to read. It says, he shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, thou shalt be the tail. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee and pursue thee and overtake thee till thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord thy power, and to keep his commandments and his statutes which he commanded this day, right? So understanding that our disrespect to Habashim Yahushua, we've been put down, we've been brought low, right? We've been brought low, not for destruction, because why? Let's go to Baruch, right? Which we quoted earlier. Let's go to Baruch chapter 4, right? And we'll start at verse 4, right? It says, we start verse 4, right? It says, O Israel, happy are we, for the things that are pleasing to Yahweh are made known unto us. So we have the laws and commandments. We got those things that's pleasing to him. The laws and commandments. The way we got it, we had a way to, to cleanse to fix ourselves if we went off with the sacrifices, things and such. But how about Yahushua got tired of them? Because why? Jake sacrifices, and guess what? Going back doing the same thing over and over again. Which how about Yahushua knew we couldn't keep laws and commandments perfect, but Jake wasn't even damn trying, man. Look at Jake now. In which we not made perfect through the laws and commandments, but at the same time, Jake ain't even try. Jake eat pork. It's certain things you can control, man. I'm just being real, right? It's certain things you control, like the dietary law. Certain things like that. We can't control like what they put on the market, things. But twin, you cannot go buy pork and things that says, man, Jake love it, man, because the way the wicked seduce them. That's what they profess out. That's what they put out into the world, man. That's what goes on mostly here today, right? So to continue on, right? To continue on, it says, be good of cheer, my people, the memorial of Israel. You were sold to the nations, not for your destruction, but because ye moved Yahweh to wrath, you were delivered into your enemies. So we were brought low because why? We grew to low stature. Why? Because we disrespected Habashim Yahushua. We went against his word. We went against what he said for us to do. We went against the righteousness of Habashim Yahushua. So we've been brought low. And we're going to be put back up again. But now we got to suffer and go through that hardship because Jake don't want to listen to, and, return back. That's why our land was destroyed. But Lord willing, in due time, Jake gonna get it and understand it and return back to Habashim Yahushua. The elect, the elect are doing that now. The elect are doing that now. The elect can return back and fix, Lord willing, through the suffering, through the suffering, we enter the kingdom, going to achieve that perfection. But right now, hey, we're in these low places. We're at the bottom right now. We're at the bottom right now. We at the low. We at the low right now. We're the low. We're the scum of the earth, right? We're the infamy, how you ever want to put it, right? Which really that's Esau on the base of men, a little low, but we're the matter of fact. Read this real fast. Ezekiel 34 and verse 3. It says, "Therefore prophesy and say, this saith the Lord Yahweh, because they have made you desolate and swallowed you up on every side, that ye might be a possession to the residue of the heathen. You are taken up in the lips of talker, and you are the infamy of the people. What do you think that means? Let's go to that word infamy. Lord willing, we don't receive no notifications. Salakia. Right? In a state of being well known for something bad quality or deed. Right? So that's what we're known for now. Right? That's what we're known for now. We were brought down. That's what we're known for now, man. Known for something bad. Right? It says you are the infamy of the people, man. Right? Everybody speaks of us in a bad way, but ultimately, what? We a royal priesthood. Right? Let's go to that. So this vine that was planted, our children, us, we done grew into a low stature, man. We done grew into a, it's like I put royal priesthood. We done grew into a low stature. We're brought low for our disrespect and go against Yahweh Shah. This is 1 Peter 2:9. This is what we really are. So, but you are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, and a holy nation, a peculiar people that you should show forth the praises of Him who has called you out of darkness to His marvelous light, right? But come on, man, right? And Lord willing, we're going to get back to that. Lamentations 2:15, they were laughing at us, right? Laughing at us, saying, it's supposed to be perfection of beauty when we fail. We're going to get back to that perfection. We're going to get back to it. But as of right now, man, hey, man, we're in the low places, right? Let's go back to Ezekiel. Read this one more time before we close out, man. We're in those low places, man, right? We're at low stature, right? Ezekiel 30, it's like Ezekiel 17, verse 6, right? It says, it grew and became a spreading vine of low stature, man. Right? So we're that low stature. We're the infamy of the earth. Right? We're the infamy of the people. Right? But Lord willing, in due time, right, we're gonna be brought up. And we're gonna be brought up, man. We're gonna be put back to our places who we truly are. The apostles to heart, it's like apostles Gabar did a lesson a while ago, months ago, around last year, around November, right? And the title lesson, this truth brings you back to a ruling class mentality, because it's gonna bring back knowledge and understanding of who we really are as a people, man. And we're going to carry ourselves as such. That's why I say we ambassadors for this truth. We carry ourselves as ambassadors for Yahweh Shah, because we're kings, princes, princesses, man, which we're going to be in rulership with Yahweh Shah in the kingdom, man. But that's beginning with the elect, because the elect are setting their standard. They're returning back to those ways now, man. That's why the scripture say what? Find the old ways and walk therein. You got to get out this mindset, get out this way of this world. Yeah, this truth brings you back to who we are, because you understand, while we were sitting here, what we were sitting here for, what we did to get here. You understand that, right? So it helps you return back, right? Help you get back to the old way. But if you don't never understand it, you would think that you are African American nigga. You would think you had that YN spirit on you, man. So this Jeremiah 6:16, right? It says, "This saith the Lord Yahweh, stand ye in the ways and see. Ask for the old paths. Our forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, man, righteous men, Yahweh Shah, walk that righteous path, man. Which, once again, we're not going to be perfect. You can't keep all the laws and commandments perfect, but it's for the elect who suffer and strive and push and put off this, who not drinking of that wine, who not drinking of that cup, man, who stay focused in the spirit of Yahweh Shah. It's not no easy passage. It's not no easy passage, because we're in the flesh. It ain't supposed to be easy, but the ones who hang on to the end are the same ones who are going to be saved, right? It says, "Ask for the old paths, where is the good way, and walk therein. You shall find rest for your souls." What do you say? But they said, we will not walk therein, man. Right? They said we will not walk therein. Right? But at the same time, Lord willing, right, they elect, they find the old path and walk in it, man. So, that being said, Lord willing, right, hope the lesson was edifying and exalting. Right? And I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Rakakadash. Double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. And shout out to the whole elect, starting with the 144,000. Shalom.